Welcome everyone to today's webinar on HCM for government institutions who are interested in Workday. My name is Corey McLean and I'll be our host for today. First and foremost, welcome to everyone who's on the West Coast and good morning to you, and welcome to everyone on the East Coast in between and good afternoon to you. Just a couple of housekeeping items. Today's webinar will be about 30 minutes in length. If you do have questions, feel free to post them in the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. If we do have time at the end of today's webinar, we'll answer those questions. If not, we'll respond to you by early next week with an answer to your question. We'll come back on the line at the end of today's webinar to wrap things up. So in the meantime, I'm going to kick things off to Sarah Manka, who is a senior solution consultant, and she'll be the leader of today's webinar. Sarah, I turn things over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Corey. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Manka, and I'm a human capital management consultant here at Workday. And please just take a few moments to acknowledge our safe harbor statement. While we won't be showing any forward-looking technology today, please ensure that any purchasing decisions that you make are based on live functionality. And in fact, today's presentation is all live functionality that our customers are using as we speak. So again, introduction, my name is Sarah Manka. I've been at Workday for about 3.5 years now. During that time, I've worked with a lot of different cities and counties and states. And so I have a good understanding of some of the challenges that you may face with your current systems and how Workday can help solve those challenges. So why are so many states and counties and different government agencies choosing Workday as their primary HCM in financials applications? Well, there's some good reasons for that. And let's go ahead and start from the beginning and helping you understand why. So with Workday, it was designed from a blank sheet of paper. So we got the ability, when Workday was decided to be built back in 2005, we didn't bring forward any old technologies or choose to integrate together a whole bunch of different solutions and add a user interface on top. Instead, we started from scratch and built Workday completely from the ground up. And we started with brand new technology, brand new ways of doing things, and a new delivery model for an ERP system based entirely in the cloud. So how does Workday, how is it so powerful? And this really all revolves around the power of one. So with Workday, you've got one source of data. So across HR, payroll, finance, it's just one reporting and source of data where you can go to get the truth. One security model, one user experience. So today you're going to see us access recruiting and expenses and payroll, and it's all going to be in the same place, and one community. So all of our customers are on a single version of Workday. Each time we do an update, all of our customers are brought to the new version at the same time. No one is left on old, outdated versions. And this means we are completely focused on maintaining the current version, and we're also always looking forward to the future to bring new functionality and efficiency to our customers. So what makes Workday possible? It's really the technology. So here you can see our business process framework. This is the engine that runs Workday. This is workflow on steroids with a plan. And what's great about Workday Business Process Framework is we deliver over 500 of these business processes out of the box. So think onboarding, think time off approvals, enrolling in a learning course approvals. We deliver these workflow out of the box, but we enable our customers to configure them to your own needs. And they're extremely, extremely robust with the different configurations that you can do within the workflow. On top of that, we've got some new technology. So object data model, it's just a better way to store and access data. Reporting is built in, so you've got one reporting tool and you can report across anything that you see today. So we're going to see how this really helps our customers get access to information much easily and share information across the business. So with that, Workday, if you think about it holistically, it's more than just human capital management, right? It's everything from planning to executing to analyzing. So for example, planning, you might be deciding, what do we need to support the workforce? How many positions do we need? What's our financial budgeting? And then we go into execution, so performing transactions according to our plans, so hiring against our headcount plans that we made, or making decisions based on the available budget. And then ultimately, we're analyzing as we go. So as a single unified system, we can bring all of this data into one place, and it's immensely powerful for our customers. Now, today we're going to be focusing on human capital management. So with that, we're going to touch on different pieces of functionality such as recruiting, so hiring, being able to look at my open requisitions and being able to see how long they might have been open for or whose team are they on. The ability to develop and engage your employees and allow them to do simple self-service actions, but giving insight ultimately to your leaders. So with that, I'm going to stop with the slides. Let's go ahead and jump into the demonstration. I've got a ton of functionality that I want to share with you guys today, so I apologize for speaking fast, but again, if you have any questions, just feel free to enter them in the chat and we'll try to get to them at the end. All right, so the first person we're going to sign in as today, we're going to start at the beginning. We're actually going to sign in as Denise Murphy, and she is a pre-hire. So her start date has not even come yet. But as a part of the hire business process, Denise Murphy received an email letting her know, hey, it's time to sign into Workday and complete some of your onboarding activities. So right up front, Denise sees a nice branded page so you can add your logo and your own banner here. And right up front, she's got some announcements saying, hey, we're excited that you're now a part of our team. So being able to communicate with them. And from here, she can actually access her onboarding dashboard where she can start working on some of those onboarding activities. So with Workday, onboarding is a business process, and you are going to get to configure what are the different tasks that somebody new at the organization needs to do. But before that, you can also start to communicate with them, right? We don't want to lose people from the recruiting process once we've hired them before their first start date. We want to engage them during that time and don't risk losing them from their start date from when we actually hired them, right? So right from here, Denise can see a nice announcement letting her know, hey, you know, on behalf of our law enforcement team, we want to take this opportunity to thank you. Here's a video from Patrick Gregory. Again, just kind of getting her acquainted with your culture, with your employees. She's got helpful contacts she could reach out to. She's got a nice personalized message from her manager. So just a nice way to meet and greet employees and get them involved. But really, let's get some work done here. So right here from here, she can see that she's got 10 tasks sitting in her inbox. And again, this is the business process. So you'll choose what tasks an employee needs to complete. So first up, she can edit her government IDs. So if we've got this during the recruiting process, it would be automatically added here, but she could go ahead and just review it, make sure everything's correct. Review documents. This is the step where we can really eliminate a lot of the paper that you're handing out during onboarding. Here you can see we have the ability to insert the employee handbook, and then she can agree to it whether or not she's acknowledged the employee handbook. So here we can insert documents such as the intellectual property agreement or our sexual harassment policy. And these documents are specific to her position. So Workday knows that she is a full-time employee and she's a toxicologist. So these are the documents that she needs to acknowledge. We also play nice with other systems. So the ability to have a parking application here that she can download, fill out, and reattach back here. And maybe that kicks off a downstream integration to our parking system. So again, the ability to submit this and say, yep, I've acknowledged all the documents, and now we're on to the next step. So here you can see Denise can actually fill out her benefits. So being able to do benefit elections before she comes on, on for her first day. Here she's got some nice links out to different plans to help her get some more information. But ultimately, she's got a running total cost. So as she's going through and making her decisions and what to enroll in, it's updating in real time so she can see what it's going to take out of her paycheck. And what we'll do here is we'll really automate benefits. So you have the ability to configure all of your plans and all of your rules, and then Workday is going to enforce those rules. So in this case, Denise is only seeing the plans that she's eligible for. And notice we have some defaults on as well. So do we automatically, if she does nothing, what are the defaults that take place if she didn't come in here and make any changes? Workday also offers Benefits Connect. So we have over 300 delivered integrations out to different benefit providers that'll automatically send this information to them as a part of the Workday platform. So here you'll notice Denise also has the ability to complete her I-9 form. And guess what here? Look how her address is already populated. That's because when we hired her during recruiting, we already captured this information from her resume. So again, Workday is going to help reduce the need to rekey data into different systems because everything is in one place. If Denise said, oh, you know what, it's 750, when she makes that change here, it's going to be updated everywhere. So payroll is going to have the appropriate tax information, benefits is going to have the appropriate address. This is automatically going to be updated throughout the system in real time once these changes are submitted. So we also provide a packaged integration to E-Verify. So once Denise submits this, it goes over to HR to do their part, and then automatically goes out to E-Verify to verify their employment. So a couple other things here, federal tax elections. I'm going to discard this. But federal tax elections, Workday does deliver all of the federal, state, and local payroll tax rules. So we are constantly doing those updates and maintaining those tables for all of our customers. Again, the value of having everyone on the same version is we can do it once for everyone, and it's as easy as that. So from here, Denise can also do things like do her direct deposit. So before she comes in, she knows that she's all set up and ready to get paid on that first pay date. She can also do things like security access card information. So here, this is not necessarily something she might be doing in Workday, but it's giving her a to-do saying, hey, make sure you go out to that website and to get the card access information. And then of course, disability and veteran status for all of your reporting needs. Workday is going to enable you to report on the information that you need to in order to do all of your compliance reporting and things of that nature. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there and go back home. So that was a quick look at employee onboarding. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to sign in as an employee. So we're going to take a look at employee self-service and see how Workday can make it really, really simple for employees to access their information. So I'm actually signed in here as John Soto. Now, John is a police officer at our organization, and he is an individual contributor. But what John really likes about Workday is that he doesn't have to log into a desktop. He can actually do everything that he needs to do from his phone. So right up front, you'll notice he's got some announcements. As well as you can see some frequently used applications. He can see his next pay date or maybe his last payment when that was, and he can actually choose to view his payslip right from here. So John has an unlimited history of payslips right from his mobile device. I can choose the payslip I want to look at, see some high-level gross to net information. I'm even seeing year to date, which is pretty cool. But I can also pop open that PDF statement. So if I'm at the bank and I need to send this over to my loan officer, I can do that right from my phone. But let's go ahead and blow this up here. I'm going to zoom in. So notice some of the different things that John's getting from a pay perspective. So here you can see he's got some hazardous duty pay, some holiday pay, some longevity pay. This is where Workday can really help to start automating and simplify some of these different earnings. So with Workday's powerful payroll calculation engine, we can actually automate longevity based on eligibility rules. So Workday knows because he's a police officer and he's been with us for a certain amount of time, he gets some longevity pay. And it's also breaking down the hours, the rate, the total amount for this paycheck, and year-to-date amount as well. So you can see he's getting some overtime on this paycheck, some shift differential. We've also included all of his pre- and post-tax deductions, as well as his absence plans and accruals are even included here. So this is just an example of a paycheck layout. This is completely configurable. You can decide how detailed you want to get for your employees. Now let's go back here and just look at a couple of other self-service things. So from a time off perspective, this is also another area where we help government agencies keep better track of time off, and we enable employees to report time off appropriately. So here you can see all of the different time off plans that he is eligible for. Again, he's not seeing anything that he doesn't qualify for here. And right from here, we can go ahead and request time off. I'm going to request next the 14th, so I'm going to choose that. And here are all the plans that I can use. I'm going to say, you know what, we'll use some of my vacation time here. And it's already defaulting 12 hours based on my schedule, so I'm just going to hit submit. I'm taking the day off. And guess what? This is a business process. So with Workday, we want to enable your employees to own their own information, be able to access and do these self-service changes. However, we're going to give you control through the business process. So in this case, this is actually going to his manager, Oscar, to approve this request. Once it's approved, it's automatically going to be picked up by payroll. No integrations necessary. All right, so going forward, we're going to go ahead and report some time here. So we also do time tracking. In this case, we can do check-in, check-out functionality. We can also report hours by time. So here I can go over to the week. I can see I've got some warnings. So here we've got some validation saying, hey, Thursday, there's no hours reported, but you're scheduled for 12. So John says, oh no, I want to get paid. So I'm going to come in and add some time in here. And so right from here, we can see time worked. Let's say he came in at 8 a.m. and then he left at 8 p.m. There you go. And we can override the cost center. Maybe he's working at a different location or a different job profile. Maybe he's working out of code. We can go ahead and support that, maybe even with a different pay rate, no problem. But here we've now entered time. Once everything looks good, he can go ahead and submit this time. And guess what? The manager is going to have to approve this, and they are going to see all of those warnings in the same exact view. So let's go back home. So aside from pay and being able to do time tracking, Workday also enables employees to own their development and their careers. So from here, John likes to be able to access the career area where he can do things like apply to jobs or refer other candidates to your organization and attach their resume, and also do things like take a look at the opportunity graph. So here, this is looking at what is the next thing in line for John. As a police officer, it looks like people who were in his position moved into the SWAT task force lieutenant position. So he's going to go ahead and find out a little bit more, and he wants to add this to his job interests. So here you can see that we're tracking some of the different jobs that he's interested in. So next time I'm recruiting for a lieutenant officer position, I'm actually going to see John pop up as a potential candidate. How cool is that? So from here, last but not least, learning. Workday offers a full learning management solution. John loves this because just like YouTube, he can go out here and find videos on how to do things. So right up front, he can access different topics, take a look, update his preferences, and it's starting to recommend content based on his interests. It says, hey, you might be interested in this Microsoft applications training course, or guess what? These are the courses that are required for you. So if I open up that introduction to learning course, John can see this is required for me since he is one of our top performers. He wants to go ahead and get started. He can see that this actually has an in-person session on Thursday, March 28, 2019. We'll send him reminders so he doesn't forget. And then down here, you can actually see all of the different types of content that are included in this course. So we've got a couple of videos. We've got a document for him to download. We've got an in-person classroom meeting. And then last but not least, a survey. He's going to go ahead and continue this because guess what? We're tracking whether or not he's finished these videos. And so right from his phone, from any device, no matter where he's at, he can do his compliance training or even his professional development training. And what you're seeing here is our interactive questions that we have inserted within the video. So this engages employees and allows them to answer questions and record their answers based on how they answered questions. So with Workday, we are not only tracking did they complete the video, but we're also asking them questions along the way and then also tracking whether or not they got those answers right. So that was just a quick look at employee self-service. Hopefully you saw some things you like. John can also take a look at his org chart from here. He can take action on himself and even do address changes. And just recently, we now have the ability to do open enrollment on the mobile device. So pretty neat stuff. But in the interest of time, I'm going to stop there with employee self-service. And now we're going to pop over to an administrator. And this is our director of HR. So we're signed in as Jill Jones. You'll always know who I'm signed in as because you can see in the upper right-hand corner. And Jill Jones is a manager of other managers. She's also an employee. So she's got all sorts of things, but she's also a leader of HR. And so she needs to be able to have deep insight into the workforce. So just a little bit of navigation here. You'll notice this search box. When City of Orlando, when they chose Workday and they were implementing, one of their famous quotes from their director of finance is, if you can Google, you can Workday. And that is very, very true. As you can see here, if I'm looking for a person, I can just start typing in the name and it's predicting and it's showing me all of the people who have that name in the organization. I can hit enter and do a more detailed search. So if I'm looking for specific payroll information on Carmen, then I can break this down here. And then notice here, just in terms of navigation with Workday, you don't have to know where to go to do a specific action on Carmen. Anytime you see her name, you can take a related action, and then Workday Security is going to show you what changes you can make. So in this case, Jill has access to do everything in terms of benefits. She can do compensation changes, but maybe I'm just a manager and I don't got all that access, but I can do job changes. I can initiate a promotion process. So again, this is just kind of a way to navigate. You can also search for tasks here. So if it's performance time and I need to add a goal to all of my employees, I can do that in a matter of seconds here. Or I can even look for reports, which I love, reports and dashboards, right? So I know there's this open headcount position. Oh, there it is. And now I'm presented with a report based on my span of control. So in this case, this report is shared with all of our directors, all of our managers. But when they click on the report, they only see the people who report up to them. So here I can quickly see what positions are open versus which ones are filled. So Workday does do true position management, one-to-one. Once the position's open, we can put someone in it. And I can always drill down. So with Workday, with our technology, Workday knows how the data is related, and we can always drill down into the information. So here I'm going to view the details for this one position that's open in benefits. Here you go. We can see what department it is. I can actually drill into the position and see, job description information. But also here I'm seeing how long has it been open. And we've got little visual indicators that are really nice for managers, because if this was red, then I might say, oh, that's been open longer than a year. But in this case, this one's been open from 0 to 4 months. So just a quick navigation there. Anytime I want to go home, I can click on the W here. Again, you can add your own logos and branding. And then my inbox. So like I said, Jill's a manager. She's got a bunch of managers that roll up to her. And so she's doing a whole bunch of different things in her inbox. So anytime the business process needs her attention or requires her approval or requires her to do an action, it's always going to be here in the business process. So here you can see she's doing a mid-period review for Carmen. She's got an absence request for Carmen. So here, wouldn't it be nice for managers to have analytics within the request that say, oh, by the way, Carmen's requesting these 3 days, but Raul is already off next week. So maybe in this case, instead of approving it, maybe I want to send it back with a note and say, hey, Carmen, can you, maybe do the following week? Maybe I want to add approvers on the fly, or I could even deny the request from here. Again, for managers, just the ability to easily manage approvals from the inbox. Now from here, she also has an expense report. So I didn't get to show you expense reports on the mobile device, but Workday can do expense reports completely on mobile, or, as you can see here, we've got some pop-up analytics. And as a manager, wouldn't it be nice to know when I'm approving expense reports, how many out-of-policy expense reports Raul has had in the past? In this case, 0, so that's good. He's one of our top performers. So I can scroll down here. I can see, oh, he had a lift. Oh, wow, it's kind of an expensive lift there, but I know he's going to the airport. So I'm going to go ahead and approve this right from here. And now this is going to be sent over to reimburse him for his expenses. But guess what? This is HR and finance all in one place. I didn't have to log into a separate system. As Raul, I didn't even know I was using 2 different systems, right? And sorry, it's not 2 different systems. I didn't know that I was accessing finance or HR. For me, it's just all one thing, right? So with Workday, we just bring everything into a very simple place. From a manager perspective, we have the ability to do talent calibrations, performance reviews, and even pay for performance. So here she can see all of her direct reports, their performance scores, and their target and she can go ahead and change it. You know, maybe this year we want to give Grace a little extra. Oh, that's going to put me over my budget. Maybe not. So again, just kind of giving you guys an idea of the look and feel and manager self-service. So just a few minutes left here. So I'm going to end on a couple dashboards. But as a manager, wouldn't it be nice to see your team and who reports up to you? We're tracking the business process is saying, hey, you've got 2 things that are in progress, and this is all because of that business process framework that we've been talking about the whole time. That's what makes everything possible in Workday. Here we can kick off a business process, so a transfer, maybe we need to change somebody's location in a matter of seconds without any training. I bet you your managers could do this. It's that easy. From here, we can see my team and my matrix reports. So we also support, not just my direct reports, but I might have some dotted line relationships, and we might use them for performance reviews or workflow purposes. But let's go home. Last but not least, Jill wants to check out some of her dashboards. She is in charge of recruiting, and she also wants to keep an eye on her labor cost distribution and see how much overtime we've been accumulating. So from here, she's got quick access to all of her dashboards. You can see we deliver an ACA dashboard. In fact, we deliver a full solution for ACA all the way down to producing the 1094 and 1095 forms and submitting the electronic file at the end of the year, as well as a dashboard that shows her who's working more time than they should be. But from here, I'm going to go ahead and drill into my labor cost analysis. This is the dashboard I'm looking for. And so from an HR perspective, got to wrap it up here. So from an HR perspective, we can see headcount open positions. We've got some nice drillable analytics just showing me who my people are based on their age range. Again, security knows Jill has access to this information, so she can start to look at some diversity information in terms of her labor cost distribution. Overtime costs and hours. Here, Jill quickly sees we had a spike in overtime back in August. What happened there? So I'm going to drill down into this, and I can break this down by cost center. So here, Workday is going to have all of your cost centers, and your chart of accounts are going to be based on the position, right? I'm in this position. This is my cost center. So here you can see quickly that our street maintenance, they have all the overtime. So I'm going to drill down to the worker level and see who it is that's getting all this overtime. So right from here, I can see, oh my goodness, Rod Silva had over 100 hours of overtime in August. That's insane. And you know what? I'm going to take action off of Rod. I want to see what's going on with his team. So right from here, I can view his team, and I can see that Fang has multiple open positions. So at this point, if I want to drill into the position and start recruiting, or maybe reach out to Fang and say, hey, what's going on? We need to get some help on the team. We've got way too much overtime going on. This is an example of how Workday is helping cities, states, and counties better manage their people. It's enabling employees to report information themselves, but then giving you the control through the business process framework to ensure that the right approvals and steps are in place before that information is passed over to payroll. So with that, I'm going to pop over to the PowerPoint, and I will open it up for questions. I know we just have a minute.
Great. Thank you so much, Sarah. That was a lot to cover in a short amount of time. So glad you were able to get through that and show the breadth of HCM as it exists in Workday. So if there are any questions, feel free to post them in the Q&A box. And it doesn't look like we have any. So with that, we'll go ahead and end today's webinar. As you can see on the screen, we have just 2 more sessions, or two more upcoming webinars as part of our Education and Government webinar series for Workday. At the end of the month, we'll be having a session with data-driven decisions with Workday Financials for state and local governments. And then we'll be talking about how higher education institutions are moving to HCM. Thank you very much for your time today. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach us. Thank you.